Because I feel like, I don't know if it's the same for y'all, but y'all ever like write music and it feels like you just having a conversation with yourself? When you listen back and it's like, damn, you get me. You know what I'm saying? Well, I think it.
Still living at my old residence, searching for the dead presidents. I'm tired of clocking in and putting on my white face and slowly dying. Dead presidents, I've been grinding out for a minute now. Be that way till I'm finished now. And for the record, been making records, but I'm trying to make it to the Guinness now. Be the greatest. But that ain't the mission, that shit could be out of commission. Cause I've been subtracting the bullshit and shit I've been cool with. I feel like it's time for addition. Now look, I remember we was just the little homies. Now I got a couple little homies. Now I see the ones that always had to claim that they was really real phony. Been rolling through the lanes, I thought everybody changed, but the one that changed was me.
First thing I wanted to ask y'all, first appreciate y'all for being a part of the Mxlcxm album, man. How do y'all feel about that project so far? How did going through the motions of recording the album to how it came out to how it rolled out, how was that for y'all? Was it different than y'all regular process? Or?
I would say for me, yes, only because I don't do too much work with other artists just yet, you know, because I'm still like getting into the city. But so most of my recording sessions are just me. Okay. So I thought it was cool, like a collaborative process to like meet new people and like bounce ideas off each other, and so I thought it was dope.
What you think?
For me, bro, I mean, you know, I like the collaboration, but it wasn't new to me, you know what I'm saying? Because we go back, but as far as like what we were doing though, you know what I'm saying, was very new to me, you know what I'm saying? As far as what we were writing for, you feel me? And then like listening to your verse, I was like, okay. Normally it's like, damn, okay, we're gonna do it together, you know what I'm saying? Bro had a little verse already. Yeah. So I was like, okay, this shit fire, I gotta match that fire. Yeah, you know Besides that, it was not new, but it was just dope, the collaboration, like you mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah, I say the same thing. Not new to collaborate on records, but what we were talking about, what we were writing about was definitely unique.
That was big. For me, the content was so much different. Like, being able to usually just come from naturally whatever you see in your regular life to having to dive into their world and write about it. You know, but I was somebody asked me about that, and I was telling them it's kind of like if you know how to cook, you can cook a new recipe if you learn the recipe, right? So it was kind of the same with the music. It's like if you know how to make music, you just get the new recipe on the content of it, and you know, and just kind of produce something different, man. So. Yeah.
So how was that for you then? Because you collab with people before, you've done, you know, records, all that stuff, but you know, you had to put a whole soundtrack together. Yeah. A bunch of people, like, how was that for you?
Man, I had a blast with it, man. You know, I got to work with a lot of artists that I have worked with and haven't worked with at the same time, and it was definitely tough at the beginning. You know, I had one moment where I was like, am I ready to do a project like this? You know what I'm saying? Am I the one? You know what I'm saying? Am I the one? But then, you know, like I kind of, in that same moment, just killed that. Like, I've been very involved with my own music from production to picking my collabs and stuff like that. So I was just like, it was just walking into a new realm and reaching out to people that I wanted to work with and just, you know, and just building, man. You know, I read the book front to back, you know, went on, found all the content I could about it. And it was dope because while I was learning about it, I was like learning about actual ancient history. That's what was different. You know, that was the cool part about it. So, you know, so that part was dope though, you know what I mean?
So how was it for you to like reach out to so many artists? Because like I've never done that, right? I've never collaborated with so many, I mean like there's a couple, you feel me? But like, how was that?
It's a little bit, because a lot of people when you're in the local scene, you kind of know everybody a little bit, you know what I'm saying, for the most part. Like, me and Malcolm had never worked, but we kind of knew of each other. We met on plenty of occasions, and for me, it was kind of just piecing together who I thought would fit specific songs, you know what I'm saying? So, like, for you, I knew I had to get Champ on there. I think you might have been the first one I hit, but with Sydnie, we had no... you know, prior conversations or anything about it, you know what I mean? So that just came real organic. I had heard something from her. I was like, I need a song with a singer on it, and that one actually didn't even end up making the album, you know, so we was able to get you on another song. But yeah, man, it was just for me, like, first just mapping out the whole project, figuring out what I needed, and then who I thought I could see best on it. And I think just everybody just delivered on a high level, you know what I mean? That I didn't have to really get involved. It's like when you pick the right people, then, you know, you don't got to supervise. Just let them do their thing, you know what I'm saying?
Magic's automatic.
Yeah. So I feel like putting a project together, like I know for me at least, like I've been trying to put a project together for myself for a long time, and that's hard. But like involving that many, you know, people, producers, artists, rappers, like getting everybody together, like I can only imagine how that.
But yeah, and it's usually like that, but I look at it both ways. So when I usually make my own project, I want it to be so specific, and I'm so like, I need it to be a perfect way, and you know what I'm saying? But for this one, I wanted to just spread beyond what I could do personally. I wanted everybody to be able to put different pieces in it, and just, while I had the opportunity, throw the oop to as many dope artists around the city as I could, because I just know there's so much talent here that doesn't get seen, you know what I'm saying? So with that opportunity, I was like, you know, why not, you know, throw some of the dopest artists I know on it and just make the project better. You know what I'm saying?
I think my favorite part about the project is that like when I heard it, like I mean I know like I said I'm still very new, so I don't know a lot of artists in the Denver area quite yet. So something that was cool for me about this project was like listening back and realizing like, oh shit, like there's a lot of talent out here, like so much talent out here, and a lot of people wouldn't necessarily think like, oh, Denver.
Denver. I think that's for anybody that's not from here. You kind of got to be in the know in Denver to know, right? You know what I'm saying? Like even if you probably go to Kansas and ask them who's your favorite artist in Denver, they probably have no idea. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's just dope because even the creator of the project is from Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? So even his first base is not from here. You know what I mean? So all these new listeners are getting to hear a whole bunch of Denver talent for the first time, all at the same time. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's dope. So that's actually a question I have for you. What was it like going from like Tampa to the Denver scene? What made you even do that? I remember you told me that.
Yeah.
Like, what was that?
So I was in college, and I just wanted to do music, but I didn't know anybody in Florida that did music.
Okay. Are you from Florida?
Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Okay.
And I was like, I need to get out of Florida. I need to do something different. And my family, I come from like a smaller beach town, and so my family, you know, they just worked like, you know, the average job and went to school, you know, worked and really didn't really have a lot of like, I don't know, like big picture dreams. And so I didn't feel like I fit in really well. And my two best friends lived out here, and they're like, oh, we know this girl, Annabelle. You know, she makes music. You should come out here and, you know, see what you can do with her. And I did, and best decision ever, because it's been, she's amazing. Yeah, shout out to Annabelle, because she's just an amazing person, but, and so talented. But yeah, so like I moved out here essentially for music. So it's very different.
That's dope.
But I don't know I can't speak on the Tampa music scene, because I don't know anything about.
So you were never really in that
I was never in it, no.
I was interested to ask you that too, because I was wondering if they had like a local scene like Denver has that nobody really knows. I'm sure every city does.
Yeah, I'm sure they do,
Like, but you know, so
that's what's up.
But that goes back to like what you were saying, and what you were saying too though, is when you enter the scene. Because I mean, like I know too, but like there's artists that like I never, you know, I didn't know about you, bro.
Right.
A lot of people didn't know about me.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know about you.
A lot of people,
like, so, you know what I'm saying? Like it still exposes you to that local talent. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, I feel like you hear about people. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like relatively like new people until you start branching out into different areas, which is no disrespect to nobody. It's just like you just want to hear everything, and your project kind of brought that together.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you kind of could see it at the listening party. I mean, like I live with Thai, you know, especially outside looking in. You know, everyone kind of knew something about each other, and then you know, you start talking to people. It's like, oh well, you know, we were on the same track, but we didn't hear each other before.
Y'all
That's you.
Like it's crazy, but you know, the whole thing of it felt so organic. Like, you know, everyone was, you know, trading Instagrams and everything just to keep working with each other, and like it felt so organic, seeing everybody kind of just, you know, coming together for something like music, the soundtrack that, you know, no one knew fully exactly what was going on with it. It was like, all right, you know, we're gonna put it into your hands and then see what comes from it. And man, it was magic. It's crazy.
I think the decision to work with so many artists worked in our favor in so many realms, because now at that same time I'm starting to see Denver outlets kind of embrace the project because there's so many different artists on it. You know what I mean? Like the Denver Post interview was, you know, happened to be the day you were recording. But, you know, I think they were more ready to just embrace the project with all the different Denver artists on it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that it worked in our favor, man. So another question I kind of just got for y'all outside of the Black Sand stuff, like, how do y'all kind of, because we all kind of coming up from like the local scenes, right? Like in that local realm, how do y'all kind of just stay balanced with like real life and just continue to do music at the same time? Like, how does that, you know, how does that work for y'all? I know my process, but I'm gonna let y'all, I'm open the floor to y'all to see, you know.
I don't know if I really have a work-life balance when it comes to music. Like, music is just life. You feel me? Yeah. I mean, I think right now the biggest thing is just finding ways to, like to just taking care of the business aspects of music more, so that it frees me to do the creative side more, because it's actually generating, you feel me?
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people miss that part.
Yeah.
You know, you could be the most creative person ever, but you can't monetize it, you can't live off it. You know what I mean? That's important.
And it's tough too, because you don't want to necessarily like, can we cuss?
Yeah, I mean,
you don't want to like,
hell yeah.
like you don't want to hoe your craft out, like, you feel me? Like, it's art still, and it's like your child, really. Right. So you're not like, you don't want to like make it all about the money, but if you do take the time to like think, how can I make me something back in return, so that I can free myself up to continue to make this.
Absolutely.
And the biggest thing is like allowing your fans to support you, because they do want to, because they want you to be able to have time to create and more. So if you open yourself up to ways that they can feed you, you feel me? Then they'll be receptive to that.
That's a good point.
That's a really good point, man. Just to kind of tag off that, I think I always consider there being a local, a midstream, and then a mainstream. And I think the biggest part about that midstream, before you're mainstream, you have to always be selling something and making transactions. So even if that isn't always music, if they streaming your music, but they might just be buying your shirts, you know what I'm saying? If you could live off someone buying the Champ shirt, then you can do music whether they're buying the music or not. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's a big thing of trying to move from that local pinnacle to that next stage, is just have something for your fans to be able to support you, even if it's not by buying the music. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's a big thing that I've been thinking about too, you know what I mean?
People don't even realize that there is a midstream.
Yeah, I think
right? People think that you're either local or you're winning Grammys, and there's no room for success in between. Like, there's probably thousands, if not tens of thousands of artists that are like eating in that midstream. And nobody knows, like, the common person doesn't. And sure. Right, but you don't gotta be like Drake or, you feel me, Future or something to be like successful. You feel me? You gotta monetize your craft and take advantage of a couple thousand fans, really, a couple thousand strong fans, 10,000 maybe.
Sometimes that little niche. Sometimes, you know, I see some of the artists almost perform, like do their best when they have that little group. You know, they could go they could fill up bigger, spaces, but you know, they could also just hit a little personal one. But their fans are so loyal to them because they have that little just, you know.
It's for them. The music that they make is for them. That's what they feel like. So it's not like, you know. So they could connect straight to it. You know what I mean? So.
That's a really good point.
Great point.
Because that is a really good point. You can't see. It's like as a young artist, right? When you get age on you, you be like in the industry, like whether that's like selling shows, right? You know what I'm saying? Doing a little EP, right? Big EP. You see the industry, right? You see some of it. You can't see, like, as a young artist, like the midstream part. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can only see like, oh, he just blew up off this.
Yeah, you're focused on that. Yeah.
You don't know the 3 different songwriters that was on his project that got credited that don't nobody know about, but they got credits on 8 different projects this year, and they're just sitting at home, just cooling, taking in a couple $100K, and just
And being able to continue to create.
Being able to move.
Without
just
having to
creating,
worry about
just creating freely, and still going to the grocery store, and
Monday suck and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
and still going to the movies, and nobody notices them.
Right.
You feel me?
That's
Like they
kinda
go to the
low-key
grocery store, like
Place to be.
it is.
Still go, you know, to the grocery store. I heard the story that Michael Jackson had to like rent out a grocery store just to have a regular experience one time, just to go grocery shop.
It's not even regular because they're regular.
Right, because there's no gas. You know, right, yeah,
Like, you gotta wait for
right,
it to cure.
exactly. So, you know, imagine that. Like, just to have a regular experience, you had to pay for it, man. So, how was it for you balancing?
Oh my gosh, I don't have a balance either.
Yeah.
I'm trying. It's hard though because it's like I'm in this transition of like I'm trying to get a place, and you know Denver costs, it's so expensive to live out here. Nothing like Florida, and so I'm like working a lot to like make money so I can afford to live and then continue to do music, but then also going to the studio. So I'm a server and a bartender, so I work nights. So usually it's like I'm working, and then when I get off, I go to the studio, and then I'm in the studio until 1, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and then I go home and I'm sleeping. You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes it gets a little unhealthy because it's like,
absolutely.
I'm just trying to move.
Life of an artist is a lot of times unhealthy.
It is, and I realized that too. I was like, well, when I start touring and stuff starts changing, like it's not going to be, I won't be serving, but it's just going to be a different lifestyle. Right. So I don't know. I've been looking for that, like how to find that balance of like, how do I still be an artist, but like still survive, and then also like how to be a good businesswoman and still be an artist, because I sometimes get lost in like the business aspect and forget like at the end of the day I'm just an artist, like that's what I do.
Well, I think nowadays though you kind of got to balance a little bit of both. I think just because you got to know, we can't be like the artists that made millions and still can't eat or survive. Like that. That's what we can't do. But I think something important that you do that I've seen and that I was able to do as well is just have a manager.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? That is huge, just to handle some of the stuff that, even if they just shield some of it and then just only let some of the stuff in that you actually want to deal with, and then just making out, just have them do your press release instead of you and little stuff like that, but where y'all on the same page, I think that's important.
I was going to say that. I think like things have literally changed since I got a manager, and like obviously it's also one of my best friends, so like we have a much better, we're really good at communicating, but she's been like a lifesaver for my career because she literally handles a lot of the business stuff, so I don't have to, set times or figure that stuff out. She like has it for me, which helps a lot.
What about you, champ?
Man, I'm in a different transition in my life too. I'm married and a family. So,
Congrats.
And then, but just trying to like, just balance that is like a difficulty in itself.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Because it's again about, like you said, not trying to like saturate your work or anything like that, or make it like all about money. But it does have to be about money at some time, at some point, for real.
Right.
So me, I'm just trying to figure out that lane. Like I'm trying to figure out like this, and this is a start of it too. But just like the real business side of it, I really want to focus on that. And then like just kind of what you said, that was just a beautiful point, because you can just do anything in this industry. Like I be looking at credits for everything, like movies, soundtracks, just like TV shows. There's music shit for everything.
Absolutely, it has to exist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just the entertainment, like, and your manager can speak to this, like period. Like, but just being in the entertainment industry, you just develop so many connections and so many like ways of working the shit. Like that's the important part.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to focus on, as well as being an artist. But that shit always brings me back to whatever like I want to do. The music is always like
Always there.
I'm telling you, man. I honestly don't think I have the capacity to stop making it. Like if I did, I would have already stopped. Because I had so many roadblocks already where it's like if I didn't really love it, I would have been stopped. You know what I'm saying? Like,
straight up.
Hardships,
Tribulations, that shit always comes back to it.
we did the show, remember the Los show? So we were opening up for Los at this concert, you know what I'm saying? But it was like a rap battle. And I was one of the judges right before I performed, and I picked somebody that the crowd didn't they wasn't rocking with the person I picked, right? So then, so they kind of booing and stuff like that, and then they like, so now the judge is about to perform, you know what I'm saying? And they booing me. I'm talking about it went from like 500 people down to 100 people while I'm performing, walking out on me. And I was like, bro, if I'm, you know, I was pretty much at that point, I was like, this is a crossroads. Like, do I love music enough to keep going? I can go straight business right now, getting a little accounting firm or something. You know? Like that for real could have been. I'm telling you, man, like, you know, that was, you know, I felt like was a crossroads for me where I was like, okay, it's all or nothing at this point. Like, you know, I don't see myself going through something that bad again. It could happen, of course, and I hope it doesn't. Well, Drake just got booed though. You're right. So
Travis Scott over there.
Yeah. Facts, but I'm just saying, like, I like that moment though, because it was like a tribulation that I had to kind of power through, and just even mentally sometimes it's like, damn, you know. So yeah, it's tough though.
Music is hard.
It's tough.
It's not for the faint of heart. It's not easy.
Is it hard to make music, or is it hard to do music and live?
Do music and live.
The music industry is hard. I mean, just making a lot of people just make music and it's just like they don't really care how good it gets, or like about bettering the quality of it, or the, you know, learning more about song structure and making it more, like, a lot of people just make music and they're like, this is easy.
But I almost envy them.
Huh?
I almost envy people like
Don't you
that.
wish that you could just do that?
Yeah, sometimes I wish I didn't want to be like a singer, because then I could just make music and be happy with whatever I'm making.
But then you still gotta work your old regular ass
This is
job.
true. This is very true.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only reason we do it, is because I can't just devote a whole 8-10 hours a day to some shit that I don't care about.
Right.
That
tough.
and building somebody else's dream, right?
We do, and have to in the meantime.
I mean, we do, but there's a difference between working a job and then you just, on the weekends, you just, like no shade to anybody that does any of these activities I'm about to name, because I just throwing it out there. But you just work your job and you just go and just have no aspirations. Like in your off time, you just don't build anything. You just go and just watch Netflix and just play video games and bullshit, like all your time. Like you can do that some of the time, but all your time, like you don't have any.
Work 40 for somebody, but nothing.
Yeah, no. When I get off work, every single time I've ever had a 9 to 5, as soon as I get off work, I'm into grind mode now. You feel me? I'm back into work mode, just in a different. Like there's no just like boredom. You feel me? Or like,
Do you think there's a gene for that, or you think it's learned, or you think it's just based off passion, maybe?
it's just based off the passion. Yeah. If you just care, like you said, you just love it so much.
About video games.
Right, and so that's not knocking some people, so that's why I didn't want to, I said no shade, because it's about what you want to do, right? Like if you say that you want to be Drake, and then you're going and playing video games then you have, like, shut the hell up. You have no shot. You have no shot. But if you just want to, like, work at, like, you want to manage a Chili's, and you want to go home and, like, just relax, spend time with your family, play video games, like, that's your ideal life, and that makes you happy, then you're happy. Exactly. But if you have these bigger aspirations, and then your work ethic is on a level that doesn't match it, then it's like, I don't have any sympathy for you.
You can't complain.
I don't have any sympathy for your little aspirations. You're not working to realize them.
When I say that I envy those people, though, I think what I'm saying, though, is like, there's people who just make music just because they love it, and they're okay, like, working their job. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I envy those people. Because, like, if I could just be happy being a server and just making music, then it would make music 1,000 times easier, because I would just make it because I love it. And then if something happened from it, like, great. But, like, I think sometimes the pursuit of it is what is hard.
And see, that's the thing, is everybody that really loves music has that little, if something happens from it, like, back in the corner of their mind, right? And the more you love it, the closer you, like, the more you think about that thought, like, what could happen if I put a little more time, a little more effort in it? Because the chances of you just dedicating a little bit of time to your music and then something just happening is like, it's possible, but it's not likely at all. So everybody that makes music has that little, like, inkling, like, what if I just took this a little bit more seriously? Like, what if I just put a little, because your vision of what it could be to walk out onto a stage with 5,000 people screaming your name is just, like, too it's just tantalizing. You feel me? You feel me? It's just
to be at a concert,
crazy.
rapping every or singing every verse.
Oh my
that is
gosh.
something dope.
It's addicting.
Absolutely.
Well,
I did want to pose a question
not
to
that, but-
what you both brought up, but like, so you said you kind of answered it. I would be comfortable with like just writing music and just that being it. But there is an inkling in me like, what if I like could just really get into performing and doing this shit?
Yeah.
For y'all, what's the feeling? You kind of already alluded to it. But like, would you be comfortable with just making music for other people? Good point.
I've definitely considered that several times. And someone actually asked me, like, would I be interested in writing for other artists? I would love to. I don't know that I'll ever stop making music. For me, I don't think I could have the capacity to do that. It's just like, it's just who I am, you know what I mean? I'm not one to always like talk about things. So like music is my way of talking about things or like explaining things in a way that I feel comfortable. And so I don't know that I'll ever be able to stop doing that, but I would love to kind of sit like in the back and just write for people. And yeah, you get on stage and do that.
I told somebody something similar, like definitely music has been my therapy. I've definitely wrote songs about things I've never talked to people about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, same.
Like, so, because I feel like, I don't know if it's the same for y'all, but y'all ever like write music and it feels like you just having a conversation with yourself? When you listen back and it's like, damn, you get me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's some real shit. Hey,
So, yeah, that's
no
kinda
cap,
how
though.
it
That's
is
what it is, though.
sometimes, you know what I mean?
It is. That's the only reason, too. That's why I started making music in the first place.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, to have somebody that, like, you're listening to that, like you said, that, like, damn, this person really...
He really
Man,
gets
you talking to me, dog. You talking to me. No, but that's...
Well, I was there too, like even as far as writing, of course, but even kind of like you do with with the soundtrack. Like, maybe where you're kind of also, maybe helping other people out, where you're bringing people together. You're producing more so than maybe you write. Like, how's that feel for you? Like,
I honestly love putting together music as much as I love writing it. And I didn't find that out until probably like, well, I've been doing kind of mixtape kind of scene, but like 2 mixtapes ago, I was like really, I didn't even know why I was so concerned about the production and having this dude come play saxophone and, because a lot of rappers aren't, they just want to rap, get a beat, whatever it is, $20 beat, boom, whatever, you know what I mean? But I never knew why I was so interested in the other pieces of music. And then sometimes life just takes you to a place where now I had the perfect opportunity to do that, to be in all the, not just a writer, but not just behind the, you know what I'm saying? It was like the perfect opportunity for me. I love that part almost as much. I've written for people before, and sometimes I can write something for a singer, and I can't sing. So it sounds better when they do it. So just to see, that come together like that, I like that as much as writing for myself sometimes. You know what I mean?
Sometimes I feel like it's almost like just the love of the music. Like, I'm just so happy to even hear this. Yeah. Like, I don't need it to be my voice or just to like hear this saxophone player and hear these guitar riffs. Like, those are so beautiful. Like, it almost creates this like sense of, I don't know the right word, but like it feels just as good.
We get you though, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I know exactly.
Like, it's just as good of a feeling as like that.
I don't play the saxophone, but I like the sound of it, so I gotta...
Absolutely.
Somebody else is gonna have to play it, but it's a collaborative effort.
Saxophone is one of my favorite things to hear, man. Yeah. So.
I just wanted to say this one thing though, because I think that like writing music is like essential for sure. You know, like with like entirety of life. I don't know where I was going with this.
It sounded important though,
What I was about to say though is that with writing music though, I feel like the same way. I couldn't stop recording my own music too. But like I just feel like that is the industry of like the mid-level too. There's so many writers that like nobody knows about. And like you said, like there could be 2 or 3 people in this one collaboration. And I think for us on our level, that's hard for people to do. You know what I'm saying? For like people to like say, I want to collaborate with you. And I think that the beauty of this project is that a lot of people are brought together because of that. And I think on a local level, it's hard for people to collaborate because of like us on finding ourselves.
Well, people don't want to do it because they don't want to not get their credit. Right? In the industry, when you're writing for, like, if you're writing for Beyonce and like you don't care that nobody knows that you wrote it because you're getting your credit on paper and your paycheck, right? So you're getting compensated. But like if I go and do a song with so-and-so and like, I mean, say they never even put it out, or they put it out on their SoundCloud and they don't promote it, and it doesn't, like, nobody, you feel me? Then it's like I wasted my time.
See, like
You feel me? So it has to be, if there's more business, like, knowledge and, like, more, like, just actual, like, work that is solidified, on a local level, like for instance, my last project, I made sure that everybody, like I hit up all the producers and everybody got their ASCAP and BMI, you feel me, so that we can, so that when things start rolling and streaming, you feel me, God willing, then everybody is fairly compensated and things like that, so that everybody doesn't feel like they just wasted their time.
And that's why I want a big part of the Black Sands project. I wanted to make sure that was knocked out up front, so it's not weird later. We don't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it always is, but if it's not, if you get it done first, before you create.
It shouldn't be, though, because it's the music business. Like, that's the first, like...
Most people do, if you just do music, it's hard to have a music business conversation.
And that's why people don't want to collaborate, because it's like, like if I write a song for you and nobody ever hears it on a mass level, I didn't make no money. Nobody knew that I wrote it. I don't even get my crowd. I might as well just rap the song myself. At least a couple people will say, hey, bro, you cool for writing that song? You feel me? Like,
that's really why I asked the question, though, because like that can happen in like in the big level too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could literally write, like, there's like probably hella sessions that people be a part of, and then like, shit, my shit didn't hit it. That's hard for me. I would be pissed off.
Well, they talked about that for the Revenge of the Dreamers album. How like a lot of artists, they made a lot of music and a lot of it didn't make it.
Yeah, that would kind of feel weird. I mean, it would be cool to be a part of it, but if like your song just wasn't.
but you know it has the potential. If you're in that same setting and it's like and the project isn't gonna go anywhere when it's done, feel me? It's just like then you're like, I'm really wasting my time. But if you're like, okay, if I come hard enough on this, then my shit's gonna be heard nationally. Then it's at least a little more.
But do you think that happens more as you get older? When you're young, I feel like you just trying to do music. You trying to rap, whether that's just in the lunchroom. You know, for me at least, it was just, you know, I just liked to write and rap, and you know what I mean? So I couldn't think past, you know, even to the business level when I'm like 17 or something like that, you know what I mean? Now, I understand that I have to monetize things, so it makes more sense to be able to have conversations like that. But when you're young, sometimes it's hard to even think that far. You're not even, you know, especially like, you know, a lot of people aren't financially literate just in life. But you talking about music, you know, like that, you know, where do you even start, you know, so.
Yeah, it's about having that conversation, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, for real, like you said, it's about having that conversation.
Well, I think and being like open too, because I know like a lot of people, you know, they don't have mentors. They don't have somebody who can tell them like, it's okay to ask to be paid for a feature. Like, you know, it's okay to set your price and like understand your worth, because like that's how I felt, and I still feel that way in a way. Like I don't like to charge for features. Because I'm like, is that wrong of me to be asked, you know what I mean, to ask for money for my service? But at the same time, it's like, but this is what I do. But then it is kind of that question too of like, I'm also in a place where I just want to do the music. So a lot of times I'm like, no, I don't want to charge you for the feature, because I'm just happy to be like here and be a part of it, and like I just want to be
That's why you got to send it to your manager and tell them, like, tell them that you charge. You know, can you tell them that I charge? You know.
Her, you know.
Yeah.
But then also too, I want to bring up the question too of like, when you're in a situation where you are making music and it doesn't end up on the project or for whatever, could it also too be like, well, I'm here, I'm with these people, I'm like, the experience itself is like such a win in a way, and then it's also like being in front of these people, like this one song didn't make it on the project, but like I met this person, I met that person, they know what I can do, and it could bring this in the future that I really needed, you know?
That's perspective, though.
Yeah.
That's a good perspective to have on anything. It just, you know, I think you have to look at the pro in everything, you know what I'm saying? I definitely agree. That's kind of what the bright side is about, looking at the bright side of every situation, so.